So what are your goals working through One America and with the immigration reform?
My personal goals or the goals of the organization as a whole?
Both. Let's go with yours.
So my personal goal is I work a lot with the community and I see the impact that our broken system has on their lives. And so my personal goal is I want to pass a just law that's going to help change people's lives. In the sense, it's not going to be a magic wand that's just going to, wipe out everything, but it's going to make it easier for people to be able to go to college, get funding for college, have their status fixed. And so that's something, personal goal of mine, is to make sure that happens. As for our organization, so One America, I don't know if you guys know a little bit about its history. We started in 2001 as the Hate-Free Zone, and then over the years it's changed its name to One America. But our goal is to have like a social justice and have a equality for all communities and have immigrants being integrated in the social fabric of our state. So we work on 3 different levels. We work on the local level, on the state level, and on the federal level. So at the local level, we'll work with like a school, we'll work with like a city. On the state level, we try to pass laws to make sure that that the laws there reflect our needs for immigrants. And we do a unique thing which most organizations don't do, but what we do is we create a bridge between the lawmakers and the community, and we create a space for them to come and interact, because we believe that the only way good policy is made is that if it's made with the people in mind. And so we bring complicated topics like policy and things like that, and we bring it to the community, and then we make sure that the community's voice is heard through various forums. We have lobby days where people come and speak to their lawmakers. As you can see today, we have trainings to make sure our community understands what is going on, and we work with the local community. So we are very, our strength is in the fact that our community members are the ones that run our work. We don't come in and tell them what to do, but we come and work with them as a team. And then the last thing we do is we work on federal stuff. So we're part of a national coalition and we work on various different things. But the major thing right now is we are hoping to pass comprehensive immigration reform. And by the way we're doing it is looking at the strategy of how are we going to do it in this state? Who are the senators that we need to talk to? Who are Congress people? How are we going to share our story? How are we going to lift up people's stories to make sure that it's heard? And on the state level right now, the thing that we're working on, that we're hoping to pass, is the Washington State DREAM Act, which has been being pulled through all this session. It's basically giving access to students who are DACA eligible a chance to have state need grants, which they usually, if this law doesn't pass, they don't have access to. So it restricts their money, the source of money that they can have to go to college.
So it seems like there's a lot of like intricate pathways that you have to, and like a lot of things you have to deal with in order, and barriers that you have to take down. So what kinds of, or what forms of opposition do you come across in your line of work in comprehensive immigration reform?
In general? I mean, the opposition is a lot. I mean, it starts from people who are just, they're bigoted and they don't believe that anybody who is not of a Caucasian background should be in America. You also have the opposition of people who, they don't know what's going on and they are told by the media that, or they hear facts that immigrants are taking resources from their country, and they're scared because they think immigrants are, they're coming and taking over, and they kind of forget that this is a country of immigrants, and unless you're a Native American, we are all immigrants. But so, and then the opposition there is an organized opposition. There's a few organizations that are working against, like just as we are working just as hard to want to push immigration reform, they don't believe that it's the best thing for the country. But what's interesting about this round that we're seeing is that the opposition is far less powerful than it was 5, 6, 7 years ago. I think 2007 was the last time we tried to pass something. They're not as organized as we are, and our stories are getting heard. And the reason why the stories are getting heard is because the immigrant vote came out in full force in 2012, and people realized that if you are going to run for office in this country and win, you need to have the immigrants supporting you. And that is what Obama realized. That's what a lot of the state legislators are realizing now. And so the opposition that we face, honestly, is more in people's heads. It's the lack of education, and it's not as fearsome as people say. We are lucky. We are in a state that's pretty generally tolerant. I can't say the same for other states. I know there's a lot of people who are facing more hatred, more violent acts, direct. Luckily, we haven't had an incident like that in Washington State so far. But I would say our biggest opposition is the 2 things. One is the lack of knowledge that people have, And the other thing is the lack of funding, and that's a problem that we have because a lot of people, when the pool of money is less, when money is not handled well by the government, people feel like, well, why should I give it to this person while I need it? And that's when the fighting kind of happens, and that's what's holding up, like the Washington State Dream Act right now. Their argument is like, we can't afford it, and we're like crunching the numbers, and we're like, no, you can afford it. Look, this is how much money it'll bring in. So I think those are kind of mainly the opposition that we have. I mean, and we're lucky because 2 years ago when we started working on this in 2010, I don't know if you guys remember, it was almost taboo to talk about comprehensive immigration reform. It wasn't the great thing. Now it seems like everybody and their mama talks about it, right?
Yeah. So I guess what forms or what kinds of like initiatives do you think we should take in order to, I guess, persuade or change the opinions and perspectives of people that don't really see eye to eye with those?
You as like high school students?
Not only just as high schoolers, but people who are involved, people in One America. What specific action can we take in order to kind of break down that argument?
Oh, there's a lot of actions that you can take. One of them is you have to educate yourself. So before joining any group, whether One America or not, you need to educate, realize what the resources are. And two is like you need to become involved in your community. And as I tell youth all the time, and I think you guys have heard me say this, is that you guys, the laws that are going to happen, they're going to affect you guys in 10 years. What's happening now in our country is going to affect you all when you graduate and you start jobs. So it's important for you guys to be civically engaged. And what civically engaged means is like register people to vote. If you can vote, vote. If you can join a group like One America, see what can happen. We're putting on CIR town halls. We are mobilizing, registering people to vote. We are training people to go and talk to others, because the only way we are going to pass any just laws is the lawmakers have to hear from us, and they have to realize that they are going to be held accountable. So there's various ways you can do that. Right now we're also launching a social media campaign for the Washington State Dream Act, and that's something you guys can all jump on board with. It doesn't take a lot. All you can do is join us on Facebook, and we actually have kits for people that you can take a picture like I support the Dream Act and send it to your legislators. But most importantly is just keep connected in whatever way, shape, or form. The fact that you guys are here today at a training, that's a connection, right? That's, you guys are learning things you maybe have not heard of before. But it's really about, if we have opposition against immigration reform, it's because fear of the unknown. When you're afraid of something, it's because you don't know about it. But if people realize that immigration reform is affecting the person sitting next to me, it's affecting the cousin of the person sitting next to me, then you can find a common ground.
Do you have any other suggestions of groups that we can contact or have just to have organizations to reference?
Besides One America, there is also the Washington State Dream Coalition. There's also there's the different unions that are involved in immigration reform. There's NIRP, Northwest Immigrant Rights Project. They work directly with people who are in deportation proceedings or with the papers. We also have the Washington New Americans program that's through One America, where we help legal permanent residents become citizens, and they always need help on Citizenship Day, like when they have those events of people to help. But literally just get in contact with us. We have a great relationship with Chief South High School, and just see how we can work that better. If you guys want to start like a phone banking at your school, if you guys want to start registering people to vote at your school, any of that, let us know and we can work together. And you guys have the ideas. You guys know what works best for your school. So what we do is we provide the resources coupled with your amazing energy and ideas, and that's how change is happening.
Okay, so I guess just as a last question, what do you feel as a member of One America, someone who's really immensely involved in this cause, what do you feel is the cultural importance or significance of integrating immigrants into the community of the United States and here in America?
It is, if you can, what's a stronger word than vital, necessary? We cannot live without that. It's crucial. I cannot, if this was on Twitter, I'd put stars around it to Google it, right? I cannot underestimate how important, or underline it, is that we are a country of immigrants. In 2020, immigrants are going to be the majority of this country. And if we don't learn how to integrate immigrants, if we don't learn how to celebrate our culture as America, which was built on immigrants, we're going to have a very polarized society. And we already see it polarized in politics, and we see that it hasn't been working, and people are coming back to the middle now. So we need to realize that if we don't integrate people, it's going to happen whether we like it or not. So let's do it in a way that works for everybody, instead of it just creating a schism between communities.
Okay. Well, Thank you very much.
Thank
you
you
very
so
much
much
for
for your
your
time.
Thank you so much for your time.
Should I wave at the camera?